Hey guys, it's Brooke. Welcome back to Inside Renovation. We're continuing this series with Pastor Cody about these daily decisions that you can make to help yourself make a difference. Today we are talking about finishing strong. All right, so a little fun fact. I don't know. I know you know this about me, but I was a college athlete. You're a college athlete. Did you know that about me?
I did know that about you.
Yeah.
I did not play college though.
But you were an athlete like up until, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I walked on, but then I got cut.
Okay.
So
you weren't a college athlete then.
Hello.
So sorry about that, guy.
But
Wow.
Well, you're better than me. Okay. Anyway, so where did you play?
No,
where did you play?
I played Division II volleyball in South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I was on a club team in volleyball in college, practicing against the girls at my college, indoor.
Rude.
I'm sorry, that's what they wanted.
Okay.
Dudes.
Yeah, it makes you better. It really does. Playing against guys.
Yeah. So my story was like, tried to walk on and all that, and
Okay.
I got cut. It's
Well,
fine.
we were both athletes.
That's right. The whole life.
Our whole lives. So I'm excited to talk in this episode kind of about like finishing strong because I feel like in that, athletic mentality, we can really relate to that a ton. But also, even if you are not an athlete, this is going to be a really good word for you too. So let's talk about finishing strong.
Yeah. Well, for me, the first component of that, I think, is like, I call it the decision to touch the line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like you as an athlete. Yeah. Suicides. That's right. It's that like when you're doing hard things, right? And they're not exactly the things that you want to be doing, but you know they're good for you. It's the right thing, and it's making you better, and you feel like it's probably necessary to build my endurance, my agility, and all that stuff, but you hate it.
Yeah.
And so what happens is in life, I think that we have a responsibility to touch the line, meaning like don't stop short, don't cheat the process.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. All right.
For those who don't know what a suicide is, this is what we're talking about. I just want to make sure that they can visually see this.
Okay.
You basically start at the end line, right?
Yep.
And then you have to go touch a line. And then you go back and touch the other line. And then you have to touch the half court line. And then you have to go back.
That's correct.
Basically, every time you go somewhere, you have to like physically bend down and
100%.
touch the line. But there are those times.
And a good coach, if you don't touch that line, you start over. And that was the thing that like our coach would say. He would have us running like, sets of suicides like that.
Right.
And what would happen every time, right, is as you got tired, eventually you wouldn't touch the line.
And you'd be this close to it, too.
Yeah, you would.
Be like,
it was just like, come on. Or you would like try to like hide within everybody else, and like you almost look like you touching the line, but you're not touching the line.
Yeah.
And a good coach is paying attention. He's like, nope, you didn't touch the line. You cheated the process. You cut the corner.
And everybody has to restart.
That's right.
Yep.
And then it affects everybody. And I think the same thing is true in life. I think that so many times when we get tired, we make these dumb decisions, we cut corners, and we don't fully like do what we're supposed to do. And I think it's like, it's that idea of like, when you're 1 degree off, you may not feel that for months, but eventually that 1 degree, if it continues to go, you will be so far from the original target. And I think that's the idea of like, hey, you made a commitment, you know where the line is, do the work even when you're tired. Like we don't stop when we're tired, we stop when we're done.
That's right.
And it's like, hey, we have to go, you know what? I have responsibilities I've been given, and I'm not going to cut those responsibilities short in moments just because I'm tired. Because it's like, it's in that last 10% or that last percent of effort where like champions are made. I feel like I'm like doing an infomercial right now.
But it's so true though, because I feel like this is one of the things that my husband and I talked about when we first started dating. He was in these jobs that he didn't really care for. He was like trying to figure things out.
Yep.
And I was telling him, I was like, listen, it's the attention to detail that's going to set you apart.
Yeah.
Those little things like touching the line and making sure that you get there every time, regardless of if it's just that last little inch or however it is. But I'm like, that is what's going to set you apart. To where if there's somebody else going up for your job or you're going up for a position, a raise, or, a promotion.
Great example.
There's 3 people up in line. 2 of them are like missing the line by like an inch. That third person is just touching the line every single time. That's what's going to set you apart.
What's funny as an employer is early on when people come in, I always will try to give them something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And almost intentionally bring them to the point of it, like where they're tired and exhausted. One, to see a couple things. Like one, will they delegate?
Right.
Will they help make other people better? Or they can try to own it themselves. But 2 is like, can they persevere when they get tired? Like, will they touch the line? Because it tells you a lot. Like, can you go through some stuff and still finish the job?
Yeah.
Or are you going to quit when it gets tough? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like when it's a challenge. And so here's the thing I will say though, like, okay, in sports that makes sense. But in like life, where is the line? You know what I mean? What is the line? Here's what I think is awesome. I think with all of us in some way, some things you can't control where the line is, but in so many instances, you get to determine where the line is, not the coach, right? So like, again, sometimes when it comes to parenting, you have a responsibility, and whether you like it or not, there's just a line there.
Yeah.
Like you got to protect your kid. You have to provide for your kid. You have to care for your kid. There's a line. You have to meet that line. But like in my role, so much of what I do is like, the lines kind of become invisible because it's never like, well, everybody knows Jesus.
Yeah.
Woo! Done for this week, you know, and like, and new babies will be born next week and they won't know God. You know, it's like the work never feels finished.
Yeah.
And so I think it's not just unique to pastors. Like I think it's unique to business leaders. I think it's unique to anyone that's really trying to make a difference with what they're handed and what they're doing, whether it's parenting or whatever. You're never at the finish line in your marriage.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we made it. It's like, yo, until you die, you
literally
got progress, right? So it's like you have to then define where the line is today, where the line is this week, where the line is in this season for us to go, you know what, in this season, this is where we're going to go and we're going to get there. And you need to decide that as a couple, you know, and there are days where you may go, and that's the beautiful thing I think about marriage is like, I've heard all those, you know, I've heard all those examples of like, you know, oh, it's 50-50. No, it's
not.
And it's like, then you'll hear this too, right? Well, it's 100-100. You both give 100 to each other, period. And it's like, well, here's the reality. You ain't both always going to feel 100.
That's right.
So for us, it's like the finish line for us is 100% as a couple. Today, I might be able to give 70 and you can give 30, but together we're going to get there.
That's right.
And I have to go, but we're not going to stop short. Like together, it's like I may feel like I'm at 20% today. I need you to be 80. And I need you to help. We need to get to the line together. So you get to determine what that finish line is for you. And I would say like, and you need a finish line.
That's so
like
good.
You got to be able to like, okay, I shut it off, a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like you need that in your life to go, okay, I didn't accomplish everything that the world has for me, but I did accomplish the thing I had for me today.
Right.
And there's a sense of like, okay, I'm making progress. And so then that line moves down the field a little bit long. You know, it reminds me of that movie. I don't even know. It's a Christian. I've never actually seen the movie, to be honest. It's one of those like cheesy Christian football movies. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever seen the clip where like the coach puts the kid on the one player's back and he's got to crawl on all fours?
Oh, yeah. And
he's like, you know, can you do it 20 yards or whatever? I don't know. Courage. I don't know what it's called.
I don't
anyway, but it's that whole thing of like, it's like, I want you to touch that line. He's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And he ends up blindfolding him and he takes him across the entire field.
Yeah.
And so I just think that like there's more in you than you really realize. And sometimes you need somebody else to help push you there, which brings us to like, for me, the next part of that is like, yes, touch the line, but then I would say like, do one more rep.
Yeah.
You know, because there's more in you than you know. Like there's way more in you than you think.
Well, and it's like it's that athletic mindset too, like where your mind will give up before your body physically
does.
Right,
100%.
And that's just it. Like there's always one more rep in you. I remember I had a trainer before. She would we'd be in the middle of a rep of something, like it was an Orange Theory class.
Yeah.
I'd be on the treadmill like, there's no way I'm going to make this, the rest of this.
100%.
And she wouldn't even she wouldn't be talking to anybody, but she'd just be like, yes, you can. Because she's like, I know your mind right now is telling you to give up. Yes, you can. You can make it. You've got it in you. Your mind's giving up, but your body won't.
There you go.
Keep going. And that's such a good, I'm like, I got chill bumps. I don't know if that was for.
I was kind of like, hey, I was like, nah, you're preaching right there.
No, I was just like, I don't know who that was for, but seriously, you can. And it's just like, I will have those moments. And I don't talk to her. She was in Chicago when I lived there.
Sure.
But there will be moments in my life where I'll just hear her in the back of my mind go, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so crazy how our mind will give up for our body or whatever task you're doing. Like your mind's going to tell you can't do it, but it's just like, no, you can actually, you know.
100%. I literally have built this kind of habit, this mentality into my life on almost every level. It's almost weird.
Yeah.
So like, I'll be working out with somebody like, hey, how are we doing? And they're like, 3 sets of 8. I'll do 9.
Yeah.
Every time. It's not even to one up them. It's to one up myself.
That's right.
And like, I won't end on an even number. It's weird. Like I won't do 10 reps. I'll do 11.
Yeah.
11 has significance in my life, and there's a reason for that too. But there's always just this like, I can only get blank. Nope, I can always do more than what I think I can. Yep. It reminds this example I saw a pastor do one time where he was having them do wall sits, and they got to the point where their legs were shaking and they thought they were done. And he goes, "Are you done?" And like, "Yeah, I can't do any more." And he took a 45-pound plate and he sat it on top of them. And they sat there for like 2 or 3 more minutes. And he's like, I thought you were done. Can you handle any more? They're like, no, I'm done. And he gave them more. And all of a sudden they handled a lot more. And I think sometimes what we don't realize is that you don't know what's in you until pressure is applied to you.
That's right.
Right? Like you don't really know. You think your cap is here and you don't really understand and know what your cap really is until that weight is put on you. And all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I can do more than I thought I could.
That's right.
You know, and it was like, same with kids. I thought we was done at 2. I said, there is no way. There is no way. Yeah. My thing was this. Will the third kid survive? Yeah. But will the third kid be loved the same as the first 2?
Yeah. That's a real thought.
Would my second one be as loved as my first one? No way. Like, I'm like, there's no way. My capacity to love will not. It won't. I don't have more to give. I'm out. And then it's like, you had the baby. And then what happened? Like, it's almost like God expanded my capacity and I didn't even know it was there.
Right.
Until the pressure was there.
Yeah.
Same thing with the third one. And it's like, you love your kids for different reasons, but I'm like, my love has grown beyond what I ever thought the capacity was in my marriage. Like, I thought the day I married Jessica, it's like, I'll never love anybody more than I love this woman right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can ever love you anymore. I am so dadgum in love with you. And it's like 11 years later, here we are.
How is my heart this big?
Just celebrated 11 years of marriage.
Come on.
And I'm like, I can honestly say, I am so much more in love with that woman than I am now.
Yeah.
Or than I was.
Than you were then, yeah.
You know, with my faith, I think of the same thing. Like, man, when you make a decision to follow Christ, it's like, I love the Lord so much. It's like, you don't even know.
Yeah.
That, you know, or man, I don't know anything. It's like, no, you know more than you think you know. Like every time, I think you just gave such a great word there. Like, there is one more rep.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it again. You can keep going. You don't have to give up.
Yep.
And that's what we would encourage people with. It's like, just go the extra mile, touch the finish line, and then know, you know what? I probably can do that one more.
Yeah.